As a service provider, time is the biggest thing we need. Somebody will come to us and say, I got this huge project. I need it done by next month. And I'm like, I'm booked.
When you're able to take a great product and match the experience outside the product, it shoots your LTV through the roof because people aren't going to leave.
We did $4.5 million that first year, and we did 10 2016. It was a quick scale.
Being a service provider, you're only as good as the information that you can hear from the client.
100%.
What a night last night, though, huh?
John is the slot whisperer.
What was that game called? Huff and Puff?
Huff and Even More Puff.
Huff and Even More Puff.
So it's the third variation. So there was Huff and Puff, and then there was Huff and More Puff.
He was like, that was copyrighted 2022, and he's like, this one came out in 2023.
Yeah, he knew the...
Yeah, this was the first time I've seen it out in the wild.
But seriously, like, do you research these or like...
Yes.
Meanwhile, it's John.
YouTube videos.
It's John, and then surrounding John and all the other slot machines, it's like 85-year-old women with oxygen tanks. And then it's just like John.
John fit right in.
It's not true.
No.
I was baffled by how much you knew about slot machines.
He knows a lot about
Every
slots.
single slot machine we walked by, you knew something about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, not normal.
At all.
No.
At all.
But a great time. You hit big, so that's good.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go ahead and kick this thing off. Ready?
Let's do it.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the ASOM Pod, where we talk a lot. E-com is the path that we walk a lot. From 4 point of views when we're talking shop.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to the ASOM Pod, a show about perspective from the eyes of an agency, SaaS, operator, marketer, focused on D2C, e-commerce, and retail space. With over 55 years of combined business experience, finding over 12 different companies in our careers, we're excited to bring you this episode. All right, so let's go ahead and go around the room real quick. I want to kick this thing off. So introducing first, we got John Roman. He's the Android-loving survival king, 4-time founder, currently leading as the CEO and co-founder of a outdoor adventure brand called BattlBox. And he's got a Netflix original series called Southern Survival. And then we got Amer. I'm not even going to say his last name. He's the Prince of Bosnia. CEO
I redacted that.
It's been redacted. It's no longer in here.
Sorry, the formerly known as the Prince of Bosnia, CEO and co-founder of Praella. Yes, I added that in. He's a Webby winner, 4-time founder, branding experience king, builds websites for all these famous people like Billie Eilish, LeBron James, Rihanna, Paris Hilton, BattlBox, and so forth. And then last but not least over here, I've got Bryan MacDonald, the self-proclaimed funniest guy on LinkedIn.
Yep.
He's
That's
a
right.
2-time founder, the meat guy, anything but salad, sponsor, rapper, funny guy, marketing extraordinaire. In his everyday life, he's the director of e-commerce at Almost Pride, the original raw pet food company. And my name is Jimmy Kim. I'm CIO and founder of Sendlane, 3-time founder, former direct-to-consumer brand owner, email guy, digital market guy of 15 years. So starting off, I want to start off by giving a quick shout out to some of our sponsors that we have. So first and foremost, we want to give a big shout out to Creators Combine. That's where the awesome community lives here together. We actually now, after talking to Ryan over there, we've actually created a place for an agency, SaaS, operators, and marketers to come live in there. It's a mastermind. It's a great place. They meet. They have great things. We were just on a call yesterday driving up here to the Foxwood Casino here. Big shout out to Recharge, #1 subscription platform for Shopify merchants. So we are here, guys, on episode number 9, and we're here to talk about delivering great customer experiences. And you guys know what the best part of buying something is?
What? Tell me.
It's the experience.
Agreed.
Right?
Agreed.
We all know that Apple, all right? We all know that Apple has that down on lock. From seamless buying experience to their unboxing to their to their onboarding experience. I'm seeing him roll his eyes over here to my left. Here.
Yeah, because he's all impressed that his phone has 5 cameras on it.
I have 5
Listen,
cameras.
Apple doesn't
Androids.
have 5.
Jimmy, how many cameras do you have?
I have 7. And Androids, well, we know that I'll never buy one, but we can safely assume it's pretty decent of a customer experience because John buys it, right? But it's probably not Apple. We can all agree there, John, right? You can agree that Apple makes that great experience.
But where do you go if you have product issues?
You don't have product issues because
I mean, that's not true. I mean, we see a lot of...
fair point. So you would take it to your carrier, your provider, AT&T, T-Mobile.
Meanwhile, Jimmy, what does Apple have? Tell them.
We have an Apple store.
We have a Genius Bar. Yeah.
But look. The reality is, it's not the only part of the experience that we care about, right? There's the product. That's probably the most important part of it all. You got a great product. That's probably most important. But when we think about customer experience, when we talk about it in our lens, we think about advertisements, right? And the brands that advertisements, PDP, shopping carts, communication, the delivery, the unboxing, the continuous support, the community, and even then to lead to an repeat purchase and so forth. That's how you know you've got a great experience. They're going to buy it again and so forth. And then in Amer and I's case, well, we've got the things like the discovery call, and we've got services and demo calls, and we've got a closing call and onboarding, and we've got to deliver that service or product, and it even goes all the way down to the offboarding, right? So those are things that we think about. And my favorite book, one of my favorite books, and I talked about it before, is Tony Hsieh's Delivering Happiness, and it helped me understand what it meant to create a differentiator around experience. And I've tried to do this within my businesses. And what's really unique about our group here, and I think it's really unique, is that though we aren't aligned in all the business ideologies, different things, Amer likes sustainability, Bryan likes to burn everything into the air, different things. But there's one thing that we do care about is a great experience. And I think that's it. And I think we've realized that we're all a little bit bougie. We all like premium experiences. That's probably why we do it. So for this pod and this episode, I really want to kick off talking about each one of your businesses today. That's my first part of this agenda. And I would really want to start. So I'm going to start with John over here because I want to talk about John and what is one way at BattlBox is delivering great customer service or customer experience today.
Sure. So, I think customer experience and customer service, I know you missaid it, but I think they do flow together, right? It's all under experience. So for us, a big, huge component is the community piece and communication. So whether you download our iOS or Apple app, iOS or Android app, or you're just opted into our email, we start the onboarding series, which, you've spoken at length about, Jimmy, of the importance of this. So we're educating, we're showing them our social channels. We send them actually a video that's a unlisted video on our YouTube channel, and we're just setting proper expectations. We're explaining how the renewal works, when the box ships, when you can expect our video review. And we really just hammer all of the details just to ensure that there's full alignment and expectations are correct. Because I think that's where you can get sideways really, really quickly if the expectations aren't there. And I think that's true for SaaS, for agencies, for brands too, right? Like if the sales guy doesn't set proper expectations, you're doomed from the start. And I think it rings true with D2C too.
Yeah. And I think too, to piggyback off that, you mentioned it in a previous episode, and I'm gonna sort of make a hot take here. If your post-purchase, right? If for those of you that hopefully you should have a post-purchase survey, if your top 2 reasons why customers find you are word of mouth or social media, you have a great brand experience. And what I mean by that is if most of your customer base, new acquisition customers that are coming to you are found off of paid media or paid ads, the chances of you having a great customer experience are a lot lower than someone like you at BattlBox, right? Which I'm assuming, which you talked about before, a lot of your new customers are word of mouth or via, for instance, how you found Brandon on YouTube and all these social channels.
Social channels where we aren't even advertising.
Correct. And I think that makes a huge difference if you really look at your post-purchase surveys and see how your customers are coming to you. That is a light bulb in regards to do I have a great customer experience or not based on how they're coming to you.
Yeah.
The one thing I would add too with setting proper expectations, and I think sometimes we forget to reverse it. Sometimes the sales team sets the proper expectations, but the delivery team doesn't match those. So it also needs to be evaluated both ways and making sure that everybody's in unison when it comes what is promised and what it needs to be delivered.
It can't be siloed.
Yeah,
exactly. Otherwise, good luck.
But you could also argue that the client doesn't always listen either, right?
100%.
Yeah, there's always that too. So let's jump into you. Oh, go ahead.
So that's a great point on the client not listening, and I think that's also true on the D2C side. So yes, we send it via email. The video we also explain. When they log into their account, we explain. We hammer the main staples and the main points so many times in hopes that if they hear it enough, if they see it enough, they'll fully understand. But to your point, Jimmy, we still get an immediate email a week later. I haven't got my first box. My first box was X. And it's like, did you listen or read anything? But the reality is some people don't.
They don't.
And that's okay.
True.
And that's consumer behavior, both on the consumer personal purchase, but also on the business.
Yeah.
So, Amer, going to you there, right? Same question. What's one way at Praella that you're delivering extreme customer experience?
I think it's very similar to what John has said. And actually what I want to lead off is what he touched upon is expectations with sales, with delivery, but also with the merchant. So like one of the things that we do when we are onboarding everyone is we go through our process decks and everything like that. The problem is that we have to battle is sometimes our sales cycle will start with somebody in January, but it ends in November. I can't expect that person to remember what happened in January and what we presented. So one of the things that we do is when we have the kickoff, as the delivery team, we basically re-summarize everything that's in there. The other thing is when I talk to every single merchant and when we go through our agreements and we're trying to sculpt everything, I mean this, I don't say it because it sounds nice, the agreement is there to protect them. So I really try to force our sales team to walk them through everything because we're going to deliver, we're promising to deliver everything that's in there. So if something is missing, if you need something extra, you need to tell me. I don't know. I'm going to try to bring out as much as possible. But if I don't know you need something, it's going to be hard for me to fulfill that need.
So it's over communication on your side, but you also have a strong ask for communication back, which is part of the challenge that you have, right?
Yeah.
Being an agency and being a service provider, you're only as good as the information that you can hear from the client.
100%.
And it's a fine line, right? Because this is pre-sales with the scope.
Yeah.
So you don't want to like over burden the prospect.
You don't
kill the sale,
give them
right?
too much because then they don't buy.
100%. And it's like you got to be tactical about it. And the other thing is for us is somebody who's buying is not going to be necessarily somebody who's going to be managing the project. So then you have to educate the person who might be your single point of contact or whatever the case is. The other thing for us is, and I think we touched upon on the other episodes, with nearly all of our merchants, we have weekly calls, we have open Slack channels, email. I believe every single person we work with has my direct phone number. One of the big companies that's not an Apple that I really liked in what they did in the beginning is Dell. So Dell's founder, when they really started to grow, he would actually take customer service calls. And I was like, that's crazy. But when you think about it, to make yourself available, it goes a long way. But here's the cool thing for me. I never get pinged unless the layers of escalation have been processed. So maybe I'm lucky with the merchants that I work with, but they usually won't ping me unless it's like,
you're lucky.
We got to talk.
Yeah, I think that's the exception. That's not the rule normally.
Yeah, that's not the rule normally. They usually, people jump to the top usually. Trust me.
This ad is dedicated to all the brands out there who are struggling with subscriptions. To the people out there with churn rates higher than their mortgage. Y'all called the police on us when we were just trying to get you on recharge. And now look where you are. You know what I'm saying? It's all good, baby, baby. It was all a dream. Welcome to the recharge scene. Retention just double, celebrate with your team. So watch your churn go down. Every single day we said that recharge will turn you around. There's 20,000 brands that they serve. If your first name is Jay, they'll make your last name Curve. Trusted, robust, and dynamic. They'll make you money while you're laying in the hammock. Just kidding. I wish that was how life worked.
Something you mentioned, I don't want to derail us too much, but I love the normalization of Slack channels.
Yeah.
For partners, like having, Jimmy, you guys are in a Slack channel with us. Amer, you guys are in a Slack channel with us.
Our offshore guys are in a Slack channel.
Yeah, like it's just so efficient. And I love that B2B has embraced that because it's just so much better than email or.
Did you guys ever use Skype?
No.
Long time ago.
Last time I used it was when I had a MySpace account. You guys remember MySpace? Yeah. Not to sidetrack us even more, but RIP,
We're having a little bit of an issue now with Slack. Teams seems to be really pushing great promotions, but some of our merchants have left Slack and
they've gone to Teams.
Yeah,
well, you know why they're going to Teams is because of the packaging bundling.
Exactly.
They're giving it to you for free right now, right?
Yeah. Packaging bundling, and you get a lot more features opposed to Slack. Like Teams may be able to consolidate your tech stack a little bit more than when you think about it now. I'm using Google and I'm using Slack just to look at those two. With Microsoft, you get everything bundled into one.
And you're using the software suite too. So
yeah.
Interesting. You endorse Microsoft and Dell now, so this is interesting.
He's slowly converting.
No.
You're not that
converting
far.
back. I used to be a big PC guy.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Going full circle.
All right. Let's bring this back. All right,
Makes
Brian, let's talk about you. What's one way that you at Almost Pride is delivering that customer experience?
Yeah, so I think there's two ways we look at it. One of them is our customer service department, which we can talk about later in regards to we're hiring a few new people. But our customer service department is really more than just servicing the customer in regards to their immediate needs, which I define as lost, stolen packages. Where's my order? I have a quick question. I want to place an order. I'm having trouble. Those are all immediate needs that are really can be done by anyone, right? So our customer service, now we're in a different situation. We're in raw pet food. So there's a lot of education behind it. So we require our customer service specialists to be certified in raw food canine nutrition. So when a customer calls in, and a lot of our acquisition is based upon folks that are feeding kibble, regardless if they see the education behind us or not on social media, they know that they have to feed their pets a healthier diet. So they have a lot of questions when they call in, and you can't really call someone offshore or a kid out of college with all these questions because it's very, very educational and knowledge-based. So we provide a level of service in regards to when you call us, when you email us, you'll get a response by someone who's certified, knowledgeable, educational, and can help you make your best decision in regards to what product should I buy first, right? How do I transition my pet from a kibble diet to a raw pet food diet? So that is a way that we like to differentiate ourselves, where you're not just getting a Joe Schmo when you call us, you're getting someone that is very knowledgeable with experience and is certified in what they're talking about. And we really strive to do that, where whether it's a personal reach out, someone signs up, we have something where if someone signs up that's transitioning from raw to kibble, they're cohorted as like a transitional client. And then our customer service department will reach out to them, and I believe it's 21 days I have set right now. Hey, how's it going? Right? Is there anything else you need from us? A lot of people don't reach back out, just consumer behavior. So that's one way that we do it from the customer service side. And then from like our marketing side, I want our clients, right? I guess you can say our customers to consume the product the same way they consume our content. And what I mean by that is they love we have such a great product that we know the dogs and cats are going to love it, but I want their experience outside of the product to be just as good. So I want them, every time they go on our Instagram, every time they go on our TikTok, every time they go on our website, I want them to consume our content the same way they consume our product. And then I've noticed that creates a much stronger customer experience, because they're not just a customer who orders our product for the product itself.
It's so less transactional.
It's extremely, yeah. And in regards, like the way I think, when you're able to take your product, a great product, and match the experience outside the product, it shoots your LTV through the roof, because people aren't going to leave. And those are the two ways I look at it from our side.
I love the fact that someone can come to you on the CS side with a question and talk to someone that actually has the knowledge.
Yeah, it's cool.
I think
it's really cool.
That's far from a common practice.
For sure. And it's now, don't get me wrong, right? We're going to be hiring a few folks that are your, typical, hey, we have where's my package, or they need a simple communication with the company.
Tier 1, Tier 2.
Yes, just like you explained it to me, right? How you guys have it.
But you use Gorgeous to automate a lot of that, right?
Yeah, so Gorgeous is great, right? Gorgeous has helped out Almost Pride probably more so than any other software in regards to time saved. It frees up a ton of our customer services time that back in the day we had like live chat open on a window, we had email open up, we had our Zoom phone system. So we're operating like, we're the first e-commerce company to ever exist. I'm like, we gotta get the hell out of here. What are we doing, right?
Wait, so what were you using for the platform itself?
Before?
Yeah.
Oh, John, there was no platform.
Gmail. Oh yeah.
Like literally.
Yeah. Gmail window, right?
Yeah.
Gmail window. So the customer service reps would have two screens. They would have like our big commerce accounts on it, right? The customers' accounts. They'd have Gmail. They'd have chat, live chat, which is an app through a platform that we use, in which I will not say its name. And then we had our Zoom phone system on the other side, right? So they would go between 4 windows to answer one question. Now with Gorgeous, someone emails, chats in, it's connected to our account, right? So now you have the account history up at the same time of the communication with the customer. whether it's where's my order or this was missing in my order, whatever the case may be, they're just on one screen. It saves so much time in that aspect, plus the automated services and AI stuff that Gorgeous has to offer. But that saved a ton of time right off the rip there.
And not just that, the integrations that Gorgeous has, they're endless.
Insane. Yeah, they do a great job. They do a really, really great job. So that was like the first big component that I brought in last year at OMA's, and they were like, this is like a real thing. Yeah, it's a
cost though, like that's part of the challenge that you have. When I was running my brand, we ran off Gmail too, and even though we're doing I think until we went past about $5 million a year before we actually went off and bought a tool, because the idea of spending money on customer service being a cost center was hard. And this we're talking like 2014.
Sure.
So we'd use Gmail, used all the, I don't even think it had all the threading and all the things that were back then that are available now today, but we used it basically to house and it was a terrible idea now that we look back at it. But that's just what people did back then.
Yeah, we did it. We did it for a solid year before we got a system.
When did you guys go to Gorgeous?
We were with Zendesk we went from nothing to Zendesk in 2016. Whenever Sub Summit New Orleans.
Okay.
Whenever that was.
Is that when you met Gorgeous?
So they had been hammering and reaching out. This was early.
Oh, okay.
And we had been ghosting them, and we were at the lobby bar at Sub Summit, and they're one of their head of sales now. He was just an account exec at the time. Came over to our table and was like, "Guys, can you give me 5 minutes just so I can show you this platform?" And it was an aggressive move, and I was like, "Yeah, I guess."
Fuck yeah!
And dude, he had us.
Did they buy you a drink?
Really?
At least?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that was the thing. He was like, "Hey, I'll get this round. Can I just have a couple minutes to show you this? I've been emailing you. You haven't been responding." And super nice guy, and we ended up pulling the trigger on it.
Wow.
The crazy thing for me, and I know we're getting off the customer service thing, but I was at Shopify Unite. I think it was 2017 or 18. It was an event in San Francisco, and they had the Zendesk CEO at the time speaking at Unite. And I was standing there thinking, no one is ever going to be able to take these guys down. They're just getting out in bed with Shopify. Everyone's been using them, especially at that time, like you guys were. And 2 years later, Gorgeous just comes with an incredible product.
I don't want to. I want to get back on topic. Last thing I'll say though is Zendesk at the time. I mean, it was good tech. It was good software.
It was.
A leader.
100%. I think what really allowed Gorgeous to come in there and run fast and grab land so quickly was it was a very hands-on approach, right? Zendesk had built and scaled with the self-service model.
Yeah.
And it was figure it out, right? Set up the stuff yourself. No one's going to really help you. And Gorgeous came in and said, we're going to actually help you, and said, here's some best practices that other direct-to-consumer brands are using, and here's some flows, and I think that's how they...
Yeah, it's just a cycle, right? Not to get after this, we can get right back on topic. But my parents thought Baywatch, they had the best bodies on Baywatch. That was just it was Baywatch. No one has better bodies than Baywatch. And it's Jessica Alba said, "Oh, wait a minute." Right, so it's just I don't know how that correlation happens.
I don't understand it.
Yeah, so
he's saying that things get better and better.
Yeah, so
over time,
so you're saying Zendesk is David Hasselhoff.
Zendesk is
and
David
Gorgeous
Hasselhoff.
is Jessica Alba.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a good takeaway.
We can get back on track.
Okay, yeah.
That was very random.
Yeah.
All right, hold on. We're pulling back. We're pulling back.
I'm going to pull back completely.
Okay. Makes sense though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Anyways, Amer, go ahead.
Yes. So do you guys know
Jessica
the
Alba.
story?
Yes.
I'm done. She has the Honest Company, right? Do they do good customer service?
They do great customer service. They're well known for that.
Oh, there you go. So good segue. Good
really
segue.
Don't care about what company she has.
All right.
No, but quick question for you guys. Do you guys know the story of I think it's Will Guidera? He spoke at TED Talk. He was founder of the 11 Madison Park restaurant in New York City. So 5-star restaurant, Michelin star restaurant. And this is, in my opinion, the best way to look at experiences for customers and going above and beyond. So it was a TED Talk video. I would encourage everyone to listen to it. Carrie, my director of merchant success, actually shared it with me. So he was serving his patrons in the restaurant on a busy afternoon, and as he was running around, he overheard a family talk about New York was great. We got to experience all of these wonderful restaurants, but we didn't have a New York hot dog. And he heard that. And he was like, man, and he's like, we feel like we let them down as a community not to have that experience. 5-star restaurant. He runs out through the back to the nearest hot dog stand, buys a hot dog, runs to his Michelin star chef and says, plate this like a 5-star meal. And the chef's like, what the hell are you thinking? Like, I'm not going to do that. And he convinced him to do it with the beautiful garnishes and everything. And he went back to the table to that family and served them a $2 New York hot dog in a 5-star restaurant, and it made their trip.
So I wonder if that's the what happened story. There was an episode of The Bear where Bear's based in Chicago.
Yeah.
And it was a family, and it was their last night, and they hadn't had a Chicago deep dish pizza, and they just said it in passing, and they heard, and someone went down the street, got it, they cut it up, and they did the exact same thing, but with pizza versus hot dog.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's experience. Yeah.
But the other thing, too, that makes me think about it is, and I got this from a book. I read it a while ago. Let me actually make sure I get the right name. The New Gold Standard is based on Ritz-Carlton's principles, and they keep saying we shouldn't be in the business of customer service. We should be in the business of hospitality.
Yep.
And
so I worked
at
at the Ritz for 4 years.
Oh, did you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And it did what they do when it comes to hospitality and the empowerment. So all employees, so I worked at the Ritz-Carlton on Reynolds Plantation on Lake Oconee in Georgia. And I joined it when it had just started. So it was brand new, brand opening. And the empowerment. So whether you're a valet or a bartender or front desk supervisor, it doesn't matter. You have this ability to, at any point, any guest, no questions asked, comp up to $2,000 a day. Now, you're not going to abuse that, right? But like the ability to know that just as a normal employee, you have the ability to comp up to $2,000 for any guest any day.
That's wild.
And you're just filling out a form and explaining why you're doing it.
That's insane.
But it just takes it to the next level.
Brian's
you
gonna
can
go and
you can do some cool stuff.
abuse the Ritz.
Oh, 100%. You know
Well,
where I'm staying next time.
So huge point on that, right? Like when you're booking your Ritz reservation, whether you're on the phone or online and you call or like confirm, like have some interaction with them and give them information. It all goes in your permanent record, right? Your customer profile with them. So I did a bunch of jobs over there, but one of them I was at the front desk and checking people in, and you'd pull it up and you'd see these notes, so you knew how to surprise and delight them.
Wow.
It's one of those hotel organizations that if you give them the information, they're listening, and whoever you're telling, they're putting it in the system. Like it's pretty cool.
All right, I gotta give a negative take to that, but why did their rooms suck?
You think their rooms suck?
I think they look just like every other Marriott that you'd go into. They have like the same furniture, maybe slightly more elevated, but it's not a great room.
Well, I don't think all Ritz are created equal.
Oh, okay. Well, that might be it too.
That too, but I think too, I mean, with all the hotels that I've stayed at, to me, the rooms are all pretty the same, but it's the service that makes it for me.
Yeah, but it's
always
still
been
maybe for me, I
Yeah.
like a good room, and I feel like their room's very standardized.
If it's standard,
Marriott.
it's not very modern.
Yeah, it's like very Marriott-y, I call it, because they look
Okay.
like a Marriott hotel room, just a little bit nicer.
Yeah.
And I expect more out of after getting. It's like you got the really nice like out exterior experience, and you get into the final experience in a product, which is to stay in a room.
Yeah, you know, I pushed back, and now as I think through it, I've never stayed at a Ritz room where I've been like, oh wow, this room is really awesome.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
At all.
It's not really that great of an experience on the room side.
So I don't value rooms so much, because for me it's like I'm not traveling somewhere to hang out in my room. I'm just gonna sleep there. And
I don't know. Shout out Foxwoods for hooking us up with an amazing hotel.
Yeah, great suites.
But at the end of the day, just slept there. The bed's comfortable. That's all I care about. Is the room clean, So cleanliness is a big thing.
2
to
bathrooms.
Me. 2 bathrooms, yeah.
All right. The random thoughts. All right, we're gonna bring this all the way back.
Kennedy.
Yeah.
We're gonna bring this all the way back because we went off on a tangent here. We're gonna get back to delivering customer experience. All right. So for mine, I'm gonna come back to SaaS side of things, and when we think about what I do, how I think about delivering customer experience. There's a lot of ways that we think about it, but I'll kind of keep it at the most simple and most rudimentary, which is just having someone available 24/7, 365. And the way we accomplished that at our company is, and we took a very unique model where we basically said, I know that everybody wants to work 9 to 5, but this role, this entry-level role, is not a 9 to 5 role. It's a 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., it's a 12 p.m. to 8 p.m., it's a 6 p.m. to 12 midnight, and we basically take a retail approach to scheduling our team, which creates good overlap, but also doesn't burn people out, but also finds good balance in keeping people on there.
Do you know what I think that you did that a lot of SaaS companies have failed to adopt? And even before I knew you, on a close level, you used to always post about the availability of your team. I think since the pandemic, we switched to this very flexible work schedule. And sometimes maybe somebody will work on a Friday, half a day, or whatever the case, and say, I'm going to finish something on a Saturday. And if they're working on email segmentation, whatever, they have an issue with it when they're running it or working late at night, and the provider is not available, that's already a bad experience to them, because we're now in a world that's almost 24/7.
Yeah.
Well, it's not only that, but we're in worldwide, like everywhere, internationally. I mean, it's 9 a.m. for someone somewhere right now, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And they're working, they're doing their thing, and that's always something we have to think about. All right, I'm going to flip this, though. We're going to go talk about as we scale now, right? As we scale, and customer experience is something that is very much top of mind for us. What do you guys think you're doing and struggling with today? So let's talk about things that we're all working towards getting better at. And I'm going to start first, kind of as I set the stage for us. Our biggest struggle, and I think John nailed it earlier, is actually educating people. We have a complex product, and it has complex questions and technical parts to it, and it creates a unique learning experience, especially because you're not just taking someone and saying, hey, let's learn one thing, like how to use the tool, but you have to actually learn the application and the strategy, what you're actually doing, which is marketing, right? Email and SMS marketing, reviews collection. You got to layer a technical aspect to it. And then you got to layer the aspect of being able to talk and communicate with people. And so for us, one of the things that we've been struggling to is education and learning. And we've been doing all these things. We call them OKRs. I don't know if you guys have ever heard that. It's a framework. But one of our OKRs is elevating our internal team knowledge and becoming more and more aligned with what our customers are doing. And it's taken a village to get that to occur. And it's still something that we're continuing to challenge with.
Quick question. So I've struggled with OKRs in the past with measurement of OKRs. How do you measure that for your team? So you have this goal.
OKRs, here's something wrong with them, right? It's like, okay, you know with the principal OKR, you're supposed to shoot this huge goal and you're only supposed to achieve like 60 to 70% of it, and that's like managing a good OKR. It makes no sense. Yeah. It's like, hey, let's overshoot it to something really big and let's bring it back. So to your question there, it's really hard to measure it. It's really just completion of different tasks and goals. So for us, we have modules on Teachable. We created like a course. And they have to complete it. They have to answer questions. They have to do surveys. They have to watch the videos. And we measure them based on completion.
Okay.
And an output, right? Like you have to usually have an assignment or goal.
You have software used for that?
Yeah, we just use Teachable.
Okay.
Yeah, the LMS tool.
Yep.
Yeah, so we just use Teachable, and that's how we train and educate our team.
And you have somebody in charge that is heading the education, or is it a team thing?
Yeah, we put a team together. We basically took people that we believe were very knowledgeable, well organized, and could get this out and get people to push on it. And so we would take that information and say, you guys are in charge of it. It doesn't mean this is your full-time job, but these are things that you're going to work on top of, right? Yeah. And so on like Mondays, they would do like a team meeting on all hands, and we'd be talking about what did we do? The teams would have to bring presentations up and, what we learned this week and stuff like that. And that's, you kind of have to force the education piece. And one of the things that I've really learned about business as you scale is education becomes a very big part of a business scale. Because you have to educate those people, not your day ones, not the people who know, not the people who are coming from the industry knowledge, but you've got to teach all these people what you know, and it's really hard to teach that. And the only way you can teach that is through some type of level of education. So it's continued education in one way or another.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know Teachable existed. So like we have Google Docs with like tons of Loom videos.
Yes.
Like it's
this
very
would
manual.
solve all that problem, and
Yeah.
you can watch and see, did they watch the video? Did they take the quiz? Did they complete the module?
Do you know
I wrote
what-
it down. I didn't know it existed.
You know what you might be able to do to maybe have a shortcut now because you have everything? Have you tried Gemini from Google?
I mean, I've used it.
Yeah. I mean, it can summarize a bunch of these documents if you put them in a folder, create questions and everything, and you can put it in Teachable.
Okay.
Could be a quick way to deploy it.
I already have 2 takeaways from today.
This is
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Love it.
Let's
Me
keep
too.
going. Bryan,
Yeah.
let's talk about you. You guys are scaling. You guys, your story's so unique because there was a brand before there was a company in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
There was a great brand, great product, well-known, localized, regional product. We're in your localized zone right now, and it's obviously very different, but you guys went to e-commerce and started to scale that. What are some of the scale issues that you've had as you've started to ramp this thing up in your business in, customer experience?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest challenge is the fact that we are also a manufacturer. So I've talked about this before, but we just ran into an issue where as we continue to scale, right, it's very easy for brands or companies, and that for that matter, that don't manufacture their own product, and they're able to procure at different levels as frequently as they want. But for us, we're taking raw materials from different parts of the country, and we do sell like kangaroo and shit. So some of it comes from overseas, but for the most part, it's all U.S. farm based. And Amer actually stopped by the office after he got off the plane, and I brought him back to where we package our own treats by hand. So the materials come in already freeze dried for our treats, and he saw a big thing of lamb lung, and we have guys back there and girls that package the lamb lung into different size packages. So we ran into an issue about 2 weeks ago where the lamb lung provider that we buy from, it's probably the highest quality lamb lung you can purchase from, but it's from a family business, and that family business said, hey, in 90 days we're closing our doors.
Wow.
And they were our biggest supplier, the only supplier of our most sold treat. So, obviously we had a call. We were in the war room, as we call it. It's like it's a pretty average conference room, but we all go in there when shit hits the fan.
And you do the Pledge of Allegiance
And,
at the beginning of the meeting.
Yes, we'll do that. National anthem, actually.
National anthem.
Yeah, we don't
Do you sing?
We're adults.
Have you not seen the video?
I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's on LinkedIn somewhere, I
LinkedIn,
think.
yeah. So we went in there and we said, what are we going to do? Right? Because we're scaling. We're growing at a pretty rapid rate, all things considering. And we have this retail channel now that's growing. So we have our number one product. It would almost be like if Apple manufactured their iPhone in-house and their iPhone wasn't going to be available in 90 days with their current setup. So that was a big thing for us to figure out a way on my end, right? So I'm not in charge of procurement. That's not my job. However, I will help if need be and reach out to people. But my job is, okay, well, how do I plan for this to create a customer experience that isn't shitty? Meaning, we can't just send an email out when we run out of lamb lung and say, hey, we're out of lamb lung, your favorite treat. Well, we should have it in soon. No, that's not going to fly, right? So our customer base, especially in the pet food industry, is very, very big on level of transparency. So I went on Instagram Live and I said, hey, we're going to be running into a lamb lung issue, right? Our family property, family farm that we've been procuring our lamb lung from, unfortunately is going out of business. However, what we're going to do is we're going to fight tooth and nail to find the same exact quality, if not better quality, lamb lung out there. So that way you and your animals can enjoy the same quality product that we've always offered for the past X amount of years. And that was conveyed via email. That was conveyed on Instagram Live, et cetera, just to sort of make people aware, because we are going to run into an issue where there's a few week gap where we're not going to be able to offer the product. So, and the response we got back from that was pretty remarkable in regards to, wow, no one says that, right? Like that's very,
it's next level transparency.
that's pretty wild. So that was really great. But I think from my end of it is I can grow the company as big as I want to grow it, but I also have to take into account that we are the manufacturers of our product. And the more that we scale, the company has to shift its dynamic in regards to, now after that meeting, it's like, hey, as we continue to grow, let's have 3 suppliers on hand at all times instead of just relying on the same Tom, Dick, and Harry that, so going forward, I was like, that's our solution that we're gonna have to adapt. But that is probably my number one struggle as I continue to grow the e-com business, because I'm also involved in retail. The company is growing. The brand is still the brand, but the company is growing at rapid rates compared to when I first started. That we really have to take into account what we're procuring and then the messaging to the consumer until we get that aligned with the company.
No, that's great. I mean, that's a well thought out and also a very unique challenge that I think at scale you're going to start understanding. And I think the distribution of having multiple sources, that's very much a strong point.
Two quick questions from me, because this also doesn't just impact the direct to D2C consumer, it also impacts your retail.
Yeah.
Well, my question there too, how do you then also manage the retail? Because that's an experience as well.
Yeah.
They're a customer. But on the other hand, too, are you thinking about doing like order limits on Lamlung so everybody can have it? Like, what's the...
Yeah, so the plan is going to be, we offer Lamlung in 3 variants, 2 ounce, 8 ounce, and then 16 ounce. And we offer that in retail and on e-com. So I had our guy Nate, who you met. I call him the nerd. He doesn't really have a job title. He's just a nerd, and he just knows a bunch of stuff.
Android user
as well. Yeah. He's just very smart, very good dude. And I said, hey, let's get our run rates. So we do everything in like 6-week cycles for our retail team, and then also e-com. So I look at like 6-week cycles of whether it's subscriptions or product output, whatever the case may be. Hey, let's get a 6-week run rate on all 3 variants of Lamlung. And how much does PFX have? Pull inventory in their 4 locations that we store the product in. What's our inventory look like? What does our 6-week run rate look like in each warehouse? And how much of that product do we have in-house? Also, on top of that, what's our 6-week run rate per product, but also per subscription and per subscribe and save, right? Because those customers we can't not send the product to. So, all right, we'll run all those numbers, and then someone a lot smarter than me, let's figure out what that run rate looks like. So we have a rough estimate on when we're getting the new supplier in, right? So take that date and then determine, will PFX be able to get all their Lamlung before we get the new one in, right? Make sure they have enough product. And then if not, how do we pull the variants off of the website for one-time purchases in order to have stock levels to fulfill the 6-week run rate for 2 ounce, 8 ounce, and 16 ounce Lamlung for subscription customers? So it took almost a week to figure that out.
Yeah.
But now that we have that figured out, we have a certain date that we're going to pull the one-time purchases off the website for in order to allocate the run rate for the subscription customers.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
a lot to think
That was
about.
very tactical.
Yeah.
I mean, that was very well explained. I understand it, and I have no idea what you're talking about. And I understood it too. So, Amer, we're gonna go to you, right? So you again, as you're hitting that scale, 130, 140 team members that you've built up, obviously trying to maintain that customer experience and having every one of them your customers call you per se, right? Like, that's not really a scalable thing, but I know that's going to probably bring a lot of challenges with customer communication and keeping and maintaining that high quality that you have in your business today. Talk to us about it. What's your challenges right now?
My biggest challenge in any service business is people. They're the biggest investment that you make. And when you start scaling people, my number one thing is culture. Do they believe and fit what we do? Because if they don't buy into it, they're just not going to deliver with meaning. So I think as we scaled, we've been trying to do that as much as possible. And when we're hiring, we made some wrong hires. We made some great hires, and it's part of the game. So that was like my number one thing. Then the second layer is having people, as I mentioned Carrie earlier, that can potentially bring things to the table that I'm not thinking about. I want my director of merchant success to be a lot smarter than me when it comes to doing certain things. One part that we had, so we have a big development team. We have a much smaller design team, and that's just the nature of the balance. At one point, we ran into issues of how do we allocate our design tasks and design projects that get carried over to development production a lot better. And to a degree, everything was being at one point planned in silos. So our design team would get hit by new projects, new requests from clients, and all of that. So one of the first things that we did were that Tammy and Carrie and my team worked on, we created what's called production meeting. So it's all hands on deck meetings that we have on Mondays. What's coming in from new projects, what's coming in from new requests from existing projects, what are the blockers or maybe merchants that have fell off because they're doing a photo shoot or whatever the case is. So it outlines every single person and every single resource, and everyone knows what's happening.
There's no surprises.
There's no surprises. It's probably one of the more efficient meetings that we have, because it paints the picture, not even just for the design team, but then we also understand how everything else is going on with every single account. And even to a degree, if John is doing something, I think like with BattlBox as an example, somebody may say, well, what's BattlBox? And then the education kicks in. It's like, well, could I use that for somebody else or that concept?
Sure.
So that's like one thing that's worked really, really well for us is having these meetings. And one word, and I don't know if I've said it on podcasts before, that I've been challenging my team to use is purpose. What is the purpose of this task? What is the purpose of this meeting? Like, don't go into things wasting your time, because as a service provider, time is the biggest thing we need.
Absolutely.
I think for everybody, time.
Yeah,
time
100%.
is so valuable.
The other thing that goes back to the conversation about expectations in the beginning, and John knows this, we kind of bundled our retainers into, you get 40 hours, use them any way you want. Development, front end, back end, CRO activities, you want a new app, you want design. And what I realized really quickly, I couldn't forecast who I should hire next, because one week, let's say John will come to me with a 2-hour request, and the next one with a 40-hour. Well, I can't support that. So then we started to, as we scaled as a company, created segmentations in our services too. You want our design team, you can buy hours for design. You want our development, you can do development. You want our CRO, you can buy services for CRO. And then I have a level of scale, and it's not necessarily a level of scale for me, but a level of scale of experience for customers. I can't tell you how many times, like when we just started, somebody will come to us and say, hey, I got this huge project. I need it done by next month. And I'm like, I'm booked. Huh. And that's because I didn't have, to a sense, like my time is, my inventory is time. So I need to have some type of inventory planning or time planning, predictability in the business as well. And I think that has made us a little bit better. And I would say one more third thing that's, and this is a struggle for me and I'm trying to figure it out. And I loved what you kind of spoke about earlier, how you teach and manage a team with OKRs and everything. Sometimes I'll be on these dev calls and I'll hop on a call and my dev is like, I'm struggling with this recharge integration. There's issues here. And I was like, we've done this 6 times. And they're like, well, I haven't. I was like, did you stand up in the room and say, who's worked on this integration or whatever, and ask that question so somebody who's done it 10 times can walk over to you and give you a shortcut to it if we don't have it documented. That's the part, that knowledge sharing, that I think we can still do a much better job with, and that will allow us to expedite a lot of the projects that we do.
No, that makes total sense, man. I mean, there's a lot there in what you just kind of unpacked there.
Yeah.
I think that what's interesting is, as I hear that, the core of the thesis is always over communication, and you guys are you're trying to create more of that within your organization, which obviously is a challenge. All right, jumping here to Bryan here. Same question here. As you've scaled, what's getting harder and harder when it comes to customer experience, and what are you challenged with today?
And by Bryan, he means John.
I mean John. I'm sorry. I pointed at John.
No, you look like me a little bit.
There's a lot of things I can say here,
Yeah.
but I'm going to
Whole
stick
bunch. Like Bryan's taller,
I was just going to say you guys are white.
hairier,
Way hairier.
funnier.
Balder,
Yeah.
All right, John. Go ahead.
less sustainable.
Sustainable.
Less sustainable.
The first thing that comes to mind is it has ebbs and flows, but it's been a challenge for a while. So we don't do ourselves any favors at BattlBox, because each month it's a new box, it's new vendors, so it's new relationships we're having to build, and nobody has the amount of quantity we need. Not some people do, but very, very rare do they have it sitting on a shelf. So it has to be a manufactured run the uber majority of times. So one thing we can't get wrong, because we're this renewal that occurs on the 15th, and then we start shipping on the following 4th, conclude no later than the 9th. Like, these are set rules. We can't not ship the box on time, right? And we definitely can't renew them for the next 15th and then not have the previous one. So we're having to hit this mark each month with product that has to be manufactured by a vendor we possibly just started negotiating with. So you have to work out so far ahead to be ahead of it. And then things still come up. And vendors say, yes, I'm going to hit this date, and they don't. So you have to be working on backup plans. And then could be a whole episode, the fact that we're having to forecast 6-7 months out ahead. Yeah. And that's a challenge in its own accord. So it's a constant struggle.
That's what crushed my brand. I had a clothing apparel company, and we would buy and create. So we would buy the fabric, buy the buttons, buy all the sew and everything, and then we get it cut and sew and made here in America, and we were doing it. But the problem was, if I was trying to sell my fall collection, I had to start in spring. So I'm investing all this dollars in the fabric, getting it dyed and getting it cut and sewed. We don't get that product, even the sample, for a couple weeks, obviously, after you invested a ton of money into it. And then you got to wait all the way till the fall time to drop that product to try to get your money back. Yeah. And if you miss on that season, you are detrimentally in a hole. And we definitely had that issue happen. So
it's a challenge.
Yeah,
it has so many variables that can mess you up even worse.
It's crazy, man.
Did you have problems with that as you guys were scaling? Because you guys scaled pretty quickly from...
Yeah, we scaled really quickly.
Yeah.
Jimmy and I were talking about in the car, 2015 launched in February, but we did $4.5 million that first year, and we did 10 in 2016. So it was a quick scale. So we got up to that certain size where it's questionable too much. I did it again every episode. I just didn't get close enough. We got into that issue right away, where we had to figure out procurement super quickly. So it's been a challenge for a long time.
All right. Well, I'm going to get to, as we're getting to the top of the hour, I'm going to get to the juicy part. We're going to call out some stuff that we think. And I thought it was really funny, because what I had everyone do in this exercise, I said, everybody go out and write a good experience and a bad experience that you have. And what I thought was really interesting is Amer, John, and myself, we all had one thing in common.
Yeah.
But they were on different spectrums. So I'm gonna put it out here, because Amer picked United as his good experience. John picked Delta as his good experience. And for me, I put every airline as my bad experience. So I thought that was really interesting, because I don't know, who travels more out of the three of us? Do I travel the most?
I think you travel the most.
I probably travel the most. So I've probably felt all the lays, the lands, and all
and
that.
You had a bad run of delays and cancels.
Well, I like to think I had a really great run, and then I got caught up in the what is it, time of whatever, like the averages, law of averages caught up to me, and it did catch up to me. So yes, I do have a slightly bitter taste in my mouth right now with airlines. So I'm going to start with you, and we're going to start with the good. Why do you love it? Give it to me in 20 seconds why you love it, because if you can't describe it in 20 seconds, it's probably not that great.
Yeah, personalized experience to me, like Ritz-Carlton does, when we're talking about them looking at everything that we do as humans. So I'm vegetarian. On one of the flights, they didn't have food for me. Actually, I ordered the wrong one and asked for a replacement. They couldn't find it. The steward on the plane went and figured out how to make me a vegetarian meal. And he brought me all these options and everything. And I even told him, like, don't worry about it. It's a short flight. It's absolutely fine. And he was like, no, you got to make sure that you eat. And he brought me so many options. I didn't know what the heck to do.
What did he bring you?
He bought me this, like, they call like a tapas box that has like small snacks in it. He bought me some like muffins. He bought me like a big bag of snacks and things that are in there, and they were actually pretty good. I ended up taking the tapas box, snacking on it. Ended up checking on me 5-6 times, like, is everything okay? Can I find anything else?
He really went above and beyond.
Yeah, it was the first.
Cradle you a little bit.
Almost. There was the first time actually when an ex tweeted a company of how incredible that experience.
I saw that. That's why I'm so surprised, because the last time anyone tweeted United, they were getting beaten on a plane.
Well, the thing is, and the part that bothered me, which was, and it's something similar to you, is then like 2-3 days later, I saw that it was Terrell Davis got arrested.
I saw that.
Yeah. On United, and then there's an issue with that. And in my opinion, United is now mishandling that entire PR, we're just coming, we were wrong, we made a mistake, I'm sorry, and move on. Like, own up to whatever happened. Now, I don't know the entire story, to be fair, but from what I've learned. So it's like, I mean, there's these spectrums.
That was way past 20
yeah,
seconds.
that was not 20 seconds.
20 seconds, sir. I'm trying to go. We're going to go on to you.
20 seconds.
Delta, tell me why.
So things aren't perfect for anyone, right? None of us are perfect in the room. Our businesses make mistakes. Delta's response when something goes wrong, at least for my experiences, they've gone above and beyond. Damaged stroller, them fixing it. Like, that's it. 20 seconds.
No, that's great. And see, I'm on the opposite spectrum because I can't stand their lack of communication. When you're sitting at their gate and they clearly know their freaking plane is not going to be here on time, why don't you delay and let me know so I can stay in my lounge or take a slower time to get to the airport?
I have experience.
They don't tell you when they already know that they're not going to make it. It's like a lack of communication problem that they have, and I cannot stand it. It's every airline. It doesn't matter. I know there's like FAA and there's options, there's rules, there's things they're going to pay penalties for. There's all these things that come with it. I know on a business case. But really, if you just told me up front hours ahead, because you can predict this hours ahead, that it's going to be late and I can go stay in my hotel or wherever I'm traveling just a little bit longer, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
So I don't think the gate people know per se though.
They know.
So okay, so
come on.
So example,
my plane. I mean, FlightAware can tell me, and that's how I figured it out. You can go to FlightAware, goes, "Where's my plane coming from?" Oh, it's 4 hours delayed. Well, there's probably a chance that I'm 4 hours delayed, and it's almost always correct.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that FlightAware, a free website on the internet that just tracks free data, knows, but Delta doesn't know? Come on.
I've had gay people give me wrong information.
Yeah, that too. Well, I mean, again, it goes back to humans, training, learning, right?
They are gate people. You know, they're not the brightest bulbs. Or else they'd be flying the plane.
People.
Or else they'd be flying the plane.
Oh,
but anyways, go ahead, Amer.
All right. We're gonna move on from this because we're running out of time. All right, we're gonna jump back to the juicy part, and we're gonna go back to now. You said the good is united. You wrote something called Otter.ai, and I have no idea. But again, 20 to 30 seconds. Why was your experience so bad?
Open Up a Ticket had a question about one of the features and how it worked because I didn't like it. I submitted a ticket 3 weeks ago. Still haven't gotten a response.
Oh, that's just bad customer service.
Yeah.
And
did you email the right place?
Yeah. I emailed the right place. And I followed up 3 times now. Haven't received a response and moving on from them.
Are you gonna still use their service?
No, because I was testing all these AI apps. I was actually testing Gemini as well to see how we can improve our workflows. And one of the things I wanted to test is customer service. Asked a stupid question that shouldn't take 20 seconds to respond, like me, but I'm taking a little bit longer. And didn't respond ever.
I put 20 seconds on you, and you talk like a lightning speed bottle.
You did,
I like it.
You've been talking faster.
Yeah, that was really
good. I'm gonna give him 20 seconds for anything he answers from now.
So Brian still has his good.
Yeah.
Oh no, I know.
Okay.
We're coming around. Brian, we're gonna go to you.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about your good. What's your good?
My good is Disney. I've been at Disney pretty much every year from the moment that I started dating my wife up until that we're married. Her sister has Down syndrome and autism, so it's very hard for her to travel to different destinations and get the level of service and care, and Disney goes above and beyond. I mean, I don't even really think I have to explain how. Disney is, regardless of how expensive they've gotten and political and all this stuff, when you're there, I think they treat you as a customer better than anyone in the history of business. Okay. And I think it's by a very, very long stretch that the way that they treat their guests. I never have to say I'm vegetarian there to get good service. So that's also another.
That hug rule we talked about is actually
the hug rule is really cool. So they're the Disney characters that dress up as Mickey Mouse and all that shit in the parks. If a kid comes up to them and gives them a hug, they don't let go of the hug until the kid does. So
dude,
that's
I didn't know that.
Search TikTok, YouTube. There's so many cool videos.
Yeah, it's really, really cool.
It's a cool rule, little thing.
Yeah, it's awesome.
All right, and then we're gonna jump right back to you, Brian.
Yeah,
what's something bad?
Yeah, so
What's
I mean,
bad customer experience?
I don't think this is real big surprise to anyone. But BigCommerce, BigCommerce is definitely probably the worst experience I've had in terms of being in business and dealing with another company. Now, what is bad about Big? I mean, listen, their customer support is pretty putrid. Their level of
putrid's a really strong word.
Unused word.
No, not great. It's always like 2 to 3 week resolution times, regardless of the issue. Their connectivity within different apps and software that we use isn't great. and it's just a bad customer experience.
I'm going to ask something really unique here. BigCommerce, they have a lot of team overseas and not US-based. Shopify has mostly US-based or Canadian-based people that are working for them. Do you think that has part of the reason for their bad customer support?
I mean, no. If you build a bad car, it's a bad car, no matter where it's made.
So you're saying
right?
the car is bad. All right.
The actual house that they built.
So your experience is bad because the product's bad is the best way you look at it.
Yeah, pretty much.
You've been vocal on them a couple of times I've seen online.
Yeah.
Have they reached out? Like
Never.
DMs, emails?
Not even like, hey, Brian, like let's just at least talk and
Let's
see.
let's
hear.
talk about this. Nothing.
Yeah,
That's
they're shying away
Nothing.
from it.
And I'll tell you, and everyone knows this, Harley from Shopify, he gets his hands dirty.
He's gotten his hands dirty with us before.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's no doubt with Shopify.
But it starts from the top.
Well, it's
and you know what
community-driven.
Shopify and Praella have? We have a hug rule, too.
Oh, geez. All right, we're moving on.
Who's gonna pull out first?
Who's gonna pull out first? All right, we're gonna move on while they're hugging.
You know what Amer smells like? You know what he smells like?
Putrid?
Sustainability.
Sustainability. All right. I'm gonna jump over for my good because I didn't go into the good. My bad was the airline. My good, I'm gonna put a random thing out there just because I experienced it recently. It's a company called $49 Montana registration. Long story short, when you live in the state of California, or when I did live in the state of California, you want to register a car that's gray. You can't register it in California, so you go register it in Montana. This is an online service, and they help you register. That was great.
What does gray mean? Like stolen?
No. Like, right-hand drive, or maybe not emission legal, or maybe not street legal, not sustainable. It'd be opposite of sustainability happening in this cars. Anyways, my great experience with them is really the offboarding experience. Not only did they help me cancel like really well, but also just gave me a nice message and a good feeling at the end. And it was something that I was really proud of. So I'm giving him a big shout out.
Hold on really quick.
Okay, here we go. He's laughing.
Jimmy hates the Ritz-Carlton, but he loves the $49 Montana registration.
That's right. See? It's not always about the dollar value. And look, you know what's funny is it's not even $49, Brian. You laugh. But it's $850 actually because you have to register and pay all these extra things. But yes, I do love that.
Can I get a quick bonus?
What's the bonus?
There's a company that I didn't think they were going to help me as much as they did. So you guys know my dog passed away recently from cancer. Manypets.com. It's an insurance. I did not think they were going to cover as much as they did. But the most of all, I didn't think they were going to be helpful. They reached out to the hospital to get the record. They took everything off of my plate to make sure that they reimburse me for the bills. So manypets.com if you have a pet.
Yeah, you never hear about insurance going above and beyond.
Wow.
No, normally it's flip-flopped.
That's crazy. All right, last one. What last one, John?
My bad.
You're bad.
So garden with a Y. So
there's a mistake number one.
No, I mean,
what do they do?
So garden, it's an indoor hydroponic AI powered garden.
Okay.
So like 40 or 50 different plants. I've had it for a couple of years.
Okay.
It's when you buy it, you get a free year of service. And it does AI in the sense like it'll tell you, hey, these are blooming, check the roots on these, this is doing this, that means it's at this stage, you need to fix this, add more water, add more plant food. Like it tells you what to do.
Gotcha.
Water's on its own automatically. So it really idiot proofs growing plants. But their AI service, first year free. After that, it's $450 a year. When you sign up and you get the free year, you put your credit card number at that point. So didn't hear anything from them at all. Zero communication leading up to that renewal. And I think that's just a bad move. If it's $12, I understand. Or if it's billed monthly and it's less. But for me to get a charge for $450 and it just rubs me the wrong way. It's a lot of money. Yeah. And if they would have just communicated, hey, it's coming up, remind me of the benefits of why I like it. Like, tell me that you're about to hammer me. Just don't.
It sounds like they should have added recharge so they could have great customer communication with their subscription products, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I would say so. That's one thing that our customers love. It's like because the biggest issue is people either forget they have a subscription, or if they're ordering consumable products, they already have too much of it. So the worst case is, right, someone wants to push their subscription, or they may want to cancel, but you have to let them know.
Yeah.
But the thing here too, I remember when John got that, he was actually super excited about it because he loved the product and the idea of it. And this is a great example how a great product potentially gets ruined by a terrible customer service experience.
Yeah.
It's absolute phenomenal product, and now I'm not as bullish on it because of their behavior.
Well, there you go. Customer experience driving that feeling of not only how we're talking about them right now, but how we're talking and sharing the word of mouth between each other. I think it's really interesting. Yeah. Well, with that, guys, we're at the top of the hour. That's a wrap for episode 9, delivering great customer experiences. Make sure you're commenting, subscribing, telling a friend. Let us know what you think. Ultimately, right? If you have a topic or something that you enjoyed, please let us know, and would love to be able to hear what you're thinking and how we can kind of blend that into a next episode. Of course, follow us on all the social media, X, TikTok, IG, LinkedIn, YouTube, everywhere that you can find podcasts, you're going to find us. But we are a video first podcast, so we do tell you to come check us out on YouTube. That's where primary place is. Our next episode, guys, we're going to be diving into building the dream team. We're going to take a little pivot here. We're going to talk about the hiring yays and woes in a market that is more saturated with people than ever. I think this is a great topic, not only on the side of the operator making the right decision, where to find those people, but also let's give some tips to the people who are searching for jobs to see if we can help them find and land their dream job too, right? So we're going to do that. With that, guys, that's a wrap. We'll see you on the next episode.
Welcome to the ASOM Pod, where we talked a lot. E-com was the path that we walked a lot. But now the question is, will you subscribe or not?